started to tell me what the problem in my home was. And my mouth fell open. If there was a fly, it would have gone straight in. He told me there was a problem in my house, that Satan was trying to kill my son, and that we were being terrorized. And I said to him, that's impossible. How do you know that? I never said anything to anyone. He says, never mind how I know. I also know, he said, that the problem in your home is so severe that it will take the highest levels of action in order to get rid of it. And we will also have to say a mass in your house. And then he said to me, it is illegal for me just to say a mass in any house. To say a mass in a private house, I need to have permission from the bishop. And I already have it. Here it is. And there was the signed permission from the bishop to say a mass in my house. He knew beforehand what was going to happen. He knew beforehand that he needed the permission. And everything was arranged before I even told them what the problem was. Now that blew me out of the water. Then I said to him, fair enough, then you can come to my house and you can do whatever you have to do. But I have a problem in that I am an atheist. And I haven't been to the church. And now you're going to say mass and all these things in my house. And, I've been a bad boy all these years. And he said, but surely you won't be an atheist anymore. And I said, what about my wife? She's not even Catholic. She's Dutch Reformed. He says, no problem. So he came and he spoke to my wife, and my wife was as impressed as I was, very impressed. And he said, take me through the house. And we went through the house, and when we got into the little one's room, all of a sudden, he started falling around. And he couldn't stand anymore, this old man. And I stood there behind him, and I was sort of doing this behind him, like they do on the stage in some of these ministries where the guys fall out and they don't know which way they're going to fall. Well, it happened there as well. And here he was, shaking and perspiring and really being battered. And eventually it calmed down, and we went to the other rooms, and then we came into our bedroom, and he was thrown around again, but not as bad as in the little one's room. And then he said to me, the little one's room is the worst place in your house. Now we have to exorcise your entire house. Bring me some water. We brought him some water. And then he took out special salt, which he said was very special exorcism holy salt. And he made the sign of the cross with the salt in the water. And then he also told me that he had a special ring with him which had the relics of a particular saint that was potent in terms of exorcising. And this priest, had been an exorcist for the Roman Catholic Church in many countries. He was Irish. And then he took this bowl of holy water that he had made, and he went to every single window and door in the house. And he took it and he put a cross on the windows. And of course, as it evaporates, you have this faint cross of salt on your windows. And he went through the entire house with this holy water, and then he put the holy water down. And he said, now we tell the Mass here in this child's room. And he prepared everything. And as he was preparing, we had lots of pets in our house. We had a dog and 2 cats and you name it, all the good stuff that one has when one has kids in the house. And as he was preparing, all of a sudden, all the animals came running into this room. And there they sat. And I looked at this and I said, well, this is weird. What's going on here? And he did the Mass. And then before he left, he said, what you have to do now is above every child's bed, you have to put the following. And he took out of his pockets amulets from Lourdes, where Mary had appeared. And he gave an amulet from Lourdes. He said there were many fake ones. This was the real thing. And we had to put it above each child's bed. And then he did an amazing thing. He took his ordination cross off. And he gave it to me and he said, this one you put over the little one. I hate it when the devil destroys little children. And we hung it up over there. And my wife was giving pottery classes at the Technicon at that time. And she'd made a very beautiful pot. And so she decided to give it to him as a gift, because how do you pay for what he did? I mean, what do you do? So she gave this to him as a gift, and he said, this gift is so precious, I'm going to give it to the nuns that are in a certain monastery where they never ever come out and see civilization. And then he left. And that night, we're very expectant. We take this little child, and he's quite happy, really, not screaming as usual. And we take him and we tell him it's time for bed. Now, normally that was enough to have blue murder in the house. And he was quite happy. And we put him into this bed. Now, he was only just starting to toddle. And we put him into the bed. And this child had always, when you put him into bed, gone into a fetal position and started bashing away and screaming and going blood red and going totally crazy. That night, we put him into the bed, and he rolled onto his back and laughed. And he put his arms out like that, and he did goo-goo sounds like little kids do, and he fell asleep. And for the first time in his life, he slept right through the night. And the next night, he slept right through the night. And the next night, and the next night, and the next night, and the next week, and the next month. And here was I, the hard-nosed atheist scientist who knows it all, and here was peace and quiet in my house. And then I realized that I do not know it all at all. And I said to myself, now what am I going to do? Here is a major problem in my house, and the church solves the problem. Now, am I going to ignore it? Or am I going to say, there is a God, and I have a responsibility towards this God? And I wrestled with this for a number of months. I really wrestled with it, and my wife wrestled with it. And then I said, well, I have no choice. I have to go back to the church. Fortunately, my oldest son was at the point where he has to go to communion classes, so that gave me an alibi to go to church. So I went to church, and this one or two students, it's a small university town, still say, what are you doing here? I said, well, my son has to go to communion, you see. And I started going to church, and I became quite involved in the church again. Every Sunday, faithfully, everybody went to church. And my wife started saying that this is the way to go. She also wants to go to church, but she didn't get herself quite that far yet. And because there was such peace and harmony in the house, we became more relaxed. And one day I was sitting there and I thought to myself, this house needs a change. And typical German, I said to my wife, if we did this and that and the other, then, we could do something with this house. And I climbed into the roof and looked what was a bearing wall and what was not a bearing wall, and then I just took a sledgehammer and smashed out everything that irritated me. And we decided to restructure the whole house, which we did. I managed to accumulate some money, and I wasn't in great problems. And then we redid our entire house. And during the process, I had to go and see a man for the kitchen. I wasn't really involved in the church yet. I'm sort of in the stage of, I don't really know, but. And the man who did the kitchen came and said to me, by the way, I walk with the Lord. And I still remember distinctly thinking, oh brother, another one who walks with the Lord. And I said to him, okay, that's fair enough. You walk with the Lord. I was very cheeky. You walk with the Lord, but I just want a kitchen. Is that okay? And he said, yeah, okay, that's okay. But can I give you this?